Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another movie review. Today, we're going to be discussing the recently released Nomadland. The film is directed by Chloe Zhao, written by Chloe Zhao, adapted from a book by Jessica Bruder. It stars Frances McDormand, David Strathairn, and others. The reason why I say others is because most of the people in the movie, other than these two actors, are not actors. They're just kind of regular people. Some of them themselves are actually nomads. They live the lifestyle as depicted in this film. The plot synopsis is: after losing everything in the Great Recession, a woman embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van-dwelling, modern-day nomad. So yeah, this one, big awards movie for the year. Everybody's kind of giving it its notices. It won big at the Golden Globes, which means it's probably going to be the big Oscar movie this year. It's probably going to take home, Best Director, Best Actress for Frances McDormand. I wouldn't be surprised if David Strathairn gets at the very least, gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And it's one of these kind of quiet, contemplative, naturalistic films, which, if you look back through Chloe Zhao's filmography, that's kind of been her thing since she started. This is what she finds interesting, is kind of taking this approach. The two other movies that she's done before this were The Rider and Songs My Brother Taught Me, which I believe kind of have the same feel, the same naturalistic feel. A lot of people have compared her to Terrence Malick. Terrence Malick directed The Badlands, The New World, The Thin Red Line, The Universe, I think. What is it called? I don't remember. It's one from a few years ago. The one with Brad Pitt and Jessica Chastain. The name's eluding me at the moment, but and that's kind of his style too. He's the kind of guy who likes to go out with a outline. He thinks he hires the right actors, and they go out and they kind of just feel through the story. It's almost like a documentarian approach, because his movies feel a little, I would say, meandering, maybe like a little overly contemplated, overly ponderous, but he's really good at kind of capturing beautiful shots, like beautiful landscapes, and juxtaposing them with his characters. Like, he really wants to kind of get into the reality of the world that all these people exist in. And I think, it depends. I like Terrence Malick. I don't know if he's my favorite director or if I'm always in the mood for a Terrence Malick movie. Just because of the way they are. They're kind of like great, like lazy Sunday afternoon, rainy day movies, like when you got nothing to do for 4 hours, because you can really just kind of sink into it, really kind of just zone in and appreciate and try to kind of feel the story. They're more like tone pieces almost. I would say Chloe Zhao, at least from Nomadland, I have not seen her other two movies, has a sense of that, but it definitely feels almost more authored, more directed. I think her and Frances McDormand, this is probably, from what it seems like, it's probably like their brainchild. They kind of found this character together. They probably found some elements of the story together. It's based on a book, though, so it has a little bit more of a structure that they're definitely moving towards. And the movie is kind of exploring ideas of it makes lip service to like kind of capitalism and the grind of the low skilled workers in the country and their plights and what can happen to people when things go bad. It's like statistically, most people don't even have $500 of savings in their bank account for an emergency. And this movie kind of explores like what could happen if that kind of snowballs a little bit, and then you're forced to find a new way of life or a new way of being, a new identity almost. She was married to somebody for a long time. They had like a house. Had a kind of a happy life, and because of the recession and her husband passing away, she's forced to she kind of loses everything, and then she's kind of just traveling around the country. And apparently, Amazon has like I don't know what you'd call it, like a program where people like this can kind of travel around and go work at high times, like high need times at Amazon factories. So I was like, oh, okay. But it gives you a little bit of a little tiny bit of a critique of that. It's not the focus of the movie. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's like some sort of anti-capitalistic screed or anything like that. It's really just more of an empathy piece, a character piece that wants you to kind of feel the lives of these people. It wants to show you the breadth of the kinds of people that live the nomad lifestyle and why they live the nomad lifestyle. Everybody, there's a sense of people feeling lost for sure, and kind of out of time and place a little bit. Like that's how those people feel. They feel kind of unmoored from society and from the lives they led before. There's something that, a lot of times they use, a personal tragedy or a trauma to kind of explore that territory. But as you watch the movie, you see other characters who are kind of these side characters, but they're pretty important to the movie. Some of the reasons why they do it. Some people they were just, this is just what they love. They love traveling. They love the open road. They love exploring. And that goes from young people to old people, right? And it's trying to invest you in this concept that, even almost in a condescending way, like, oh, they're just regular people. It's like, yeah, no shit. They just don't have the baggage, I suppose, that a lot of people have in terms of, like, when you become a homeowner, you have kids or whatever. Which is not entirely true for all the characters, but because there's this other side of the coin that the movie also kind of explores, this idea of like what you leave behind. When you're a nomad and you're living in a van and you're driving around the country and you're staying at places for, infrequently or like a year at a time or whatever, you have a whole life. Everybody has parents, they have siblings, they have grandkids. There's all of these different factors, and some of that definitely comes into play. And they do it in a way that's not necessarily judgmental of the people that don't understand, like Frances McDormand's character. What's her Fern? They don't really understand why she would want to do this to herself. They even express to a certain extent, like, we just miss you. I just miss you. I just want to spend time with you. And all these years you've been on the road, I've really wanted you to be part of my life. But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, the movie, I wasn't expecting to enjoy the movie as much as I did. It's very easily could have been like poor porn, but it really never takes that position. I'm not sure the movie is trying to make you feel bad for these people because of their financial situation. It's just kind of presenting a reality and showing you the lives that these people live. It's one of those rare times where I do think critics and audiences kind of got it right. Not to say that it's going to be for everybody. It's definitely not. It's kind of, like I said, even at an hour 40 that the movie actually is, it feels slow. It feels ponderous. There's just like a lot of touching on concepts without really fully exploring them. A lot of it is internalized by Fern, Frances McDormand's character. And, she's kind of a reactionary character, and she's almost on this kind of Odyssey-like quest to find herself again. And these people that she meets spurs her to re-examine things or to look at life differently or to reflect on things that she's done in her past and or go explore her old life a little bit or to just think about things. And so that's kind of what gives the movie its structure a little bit. There's an old Jim Jarmusch movie. Well, not old, older. Slightly newer Jim Jarmusch, but old. I think it's like 2004 or something. Broken Flowers, which is like a movie about Bill Murray is like this lifelong bachelor, and he finds out that he has a son somewhere. He has an estranged son. His son wants to come meet him, and then he drives throughout the country and like kind of goes to talk to all of the women that he used to be in relationships with and slept with to see who his son is. That one's way more specific, but this one has a similar structure where it's like when she meets people, those people kind of become the focus of the story for a little bit, and then we learn about them, we learn about their personal philosophy and why they do the things that they do, and then it has, Frances McDormand has like kind of revelations personally because of that. And Frances McDormand is excellent in this. I mean, she's always been a great actress, going all the way back to Blood Simple, the first Coen brothers movie. And she's also married to one of the Coens. I think she's married to Joel Coen. I think she's married to Joel. And she's really great here. Just like she always is. She gives like this really kind of quiet, nuanced, subtle performance. It's like I said, it's very internal. Like, it's a very internalized performance, and she can do a lot with very little. Frances McDormand, while like you're always kind of she's a big actress, she's not like some unknown quantity, but she really kind of disappears into the role a little bit, and there's a melancholy and there's a reality to what she's doing, or why she wants to do it, why she feels like she has to do it. Like she can't ever go back to this kind of grounded traditional lifestyle. She has an opportunity at some point in the movie to kind of settle down if she wants to, and she even seriously toys with the idea, but there's something about like the freedom, I suppose, that like she wants to feel. There's this character, I think Swanky, that has, I don't want to give anything away just because it's new, but that she kind of connects with on a larger level. So it kind of calls back to this scenario with Swanky, that why she ultimately decides not to. It's about life on your own terms. It's about trying to find dignity even when you're desperate to a certain degree. Like, this does not mean that you're a piece of shit. It doesn't mean that you're completely lost just because you don't have what this, like, the stereotypically people should have, or what we consider like meaningful material possessions or things like that. I do think that there's a bittersweetness to the movie because like I said, like, as human beings, especially with our families and stuff like that, if we're fortunate enough to have families like this, there would be a real sense of loss. And I think there is a kind of a selfishness to her character a little bit, that she kind of decides not to acknowledge like the positive impacts that she actually had a place in her own life that she had built with her husband before he passed away, and with her own family. And the movie doesn't really want to deal with that. It just doesn't. It's brought up briefly, but like a lot of things, it kind of moves past them, and then but it's still in the background. Like, you're meant to kind of reflect on it, and then while you're watching Fern find her way, you're kind of invited to project those things back onto her. And in that sense, I think it's a fairly successful movie. But like I said, I don't think it's going to be for everybody. It's Terrence Malick light. If you know who Terrence Malick is and you like Terrence Malick movies, I would say you'd probably enjoy this. I was pleasantly surprised. I expected this to be way more moralizing, way more obnoxious. I've moved past. I don't like listening to lectures in movies. But thankfully, they let a lot of that just play in the subtext. A lot of the kind of the commentary about the American experiment and capitalism and stuff like that. It's there, but it never takes over the narrative. This is about Fern. This is about these people, and about what happened to them and why they choose to live this lifestyle, basically. But yeah, it's on Hulu right now. If you have Hulu, it's like I said, it's probably going to be the big awards contender for the year. I haven't seen anything else that would even come close. I know people are pushing that Promising Young Woman movie and Carey Mulligan's performance in that, but for my money, if I had control of these things, I would nominate Frances McDormand and she would win. She's great in this, just like she's in everything. I mentioned that he was in it, but David Strathairn, also an actor I quite enjoy. He's been in everything. Good Night and Good Luck, LA Confidential as Pierce Patchett. He's in Lincoln. He's in a bunch of TV shows, but he's like another one of these kind of like, he paired very well with Frances McDormand, because there's kind of a quiet emotional vulnerability to him as an actor that he's able to kind of really conjure up for this character that he plays. This guy is just kind of a lonely, kind of lost. It's one of the more hopeful moments of the movie, I suppose, is his little story arc that he has. And again, it's another kind of underlining of Fern's positive influence on people's lives, She encourages them to, in a sense, live their best life and do the things that they clearly want to do. And in part with that, this is what she wants to do. So she hopes that people accept her for that, All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, there's a bunch of links in the description for Facebook, for Instagram, for my Twitter, for my brother Dan's Twitter. Also, check us out on alternative stuff. We're on DLive. We're on Twitch. There's also an alternate YouTube channel, just in case this one gets taken down. So if you don't mind, go over there, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We would appreciate it. All right, everybody. You have the best one ever.